What's up guys, welcome back to Shifting Lanes. My name is Gregson. In today's video, we are going to talk about the 2022 Toyota Corolla and what you need to know about this compact car before you research it, compare it to others in its class, or buy it. In this video, I'll go over what to look for on the Corolla. Things like a few common issues, any major service bulletins, any major recalls, reliability ratings, and what's new for the 2021 version compared to the 2020 model, along with what to expect for 2022. We've actually driven the Corolla a few times and have made some reviews on the hybrid and hatch variants, and you can check the card above for one of those. And hey, you know, if you liked the video or thought it was informative, maybe you'd consider hitting that little thumbs up button down there below to show your support. Or maybe even consider subscribing. Doing either of those really helps us to grow the channel, and it's free, and it helps keep us making cool car content for you guys, so it would really help us out if you did that. Before we start, what do you think the top 5 most purchased or most reliable cars are? Think hard, because this is kind of an all over the place subject. If you do make a list, type it in the comments. I'm really interested to see what you guys kind of come up with. I'd be willing to wager that your list has either a Toyota Camry, a Honda Accord, a Honda Civic, or a Toyota Corolla on it. Because for the past 25 to 30 years, these 4 cars have really become synonymous with affordability and reliability. And it's for good reason. These cars are always in the top 10 to 20 vehicles sold in the US year in and year out. Usually 4th of those is the Corolla. Always there, but never in the top spot, which begs the question, why? Is it less reliable than the other 3? Is it less desirable? Hopefully by the end of this video, we can figure that out. Let's just get right to the reason why you've even come to this video in the first place, and that's the 2021 Corolla. And yes, I said 2021, and the title says 2022. Why are we making a video on the 2021 model and titling it the 2022 when it's October and almost the end of 2021 itself? Well, given what's been happening in the automotive world with factory shutdowns and a massive microchip shortage, you're looking at a 2022 that's identical to the 2021 version. The only thing that's new is the addition of the Corolla Cross, which just borrows the Corolla name to be slapped on a lifted hatchback marketed as a crossover. So nothing is new for the 2022 normal Corolla lineup. That being said, the 2021 model has some differences to the 2020 version. If you're into the hatchback version, then you have the option of buying a special edition, of which there will only be 1,500 copies made, featuring an exclusive body kit and supersonic red paint. The sedan also adds a special variant called the Apex Edition, and it just so happens that we've reviewed that as well, and you can click the card above if you want to see that. The Apex Edition gets an appearance package that's unique to that trim, but it also gets special chassis tuning, summer tires, and the much loved by enthusiasts manual transmission. Only 120 of these will actually come with the manual, and the rest will have a CVT, so if you do want one, find it now, as they likely will get snatched up or already have been. Finally, all Corollas now have Android Auto to go along with Apple CarPlay, and have an available black appearance package called the Nightshade trim. That is it for differences between 2020 and 2021. For 2022, you can get the Corolla sedan in one of 9 different flavors. Gas models start at a basic L variant for $20,075 and go all the way up to the aforementioned XSE Apex Edition, which starts at $25,975. The hybrid is an LE trim, and that starts at $23,650. For the hatchbacks, you get 3 different options to choose from, with SE for $20,815, SE Nightshade, and XSE topping out at $23,765. Like I said earlier, we've driven these, and I've personally reviewed the XSE hatchback, and it was honestly a great little car. I unfortunately had the CVT transmission, which wasn't the best I've experienced, but the chassis was nice, it was tight, and the ride quality was good for its segment. I can easily recommend you keep this trim on your radar if you're cross-shopping small hatchbacks. The 2022 Corolla has 3 different engine variants along with all of the trim levels. The SE and XSE versions get the most powerful 2-liter 4-cylinder engine producing 169 horsepower. The rest of the Corolla lineup uses a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder that gives you only 139 horsepower. The hybrid sedan also uses this engine, but you only get 121 combined horsepower from this engine and the electric motors. This is made up for, however, in spades in the MPG category, with the hybrid getting 53 MPG city and 52 highway. When compared to the other non-hybrid engines, it's a big increase, as the 2-liter engine will get you only 40 MPG highway, while the 1.8-liter is rated rated for 38 mpg highway. With some specs out of the way, let's talk about overall reliability, as that's sort of the crux of why the Corolla is popular, along with it being very affordable. Consumer Reports ranks the Corolla as number 2 in the compact car segment with a solid overall score of 77 out of 100. It's second only to, and this was actually pretty shocking to me when I saw it, the Nissan Sentra. The Sentra is a good car, but it's not Corolla good, and it's aging. The Corolla got much higher ranks in the reliability section here, but the Sentra got a much better road test score, which is sort of baffling to me. And having driven both of these cars, I vehemently disagree with the 68 for the Corolla versus the 81 for the Sentra on the road test score. The Corolla feels like a much more quality product from a performance and ride quality standpoint. On reliability scores, the Corolla is tops in the category with a 90 out of 100, followed by the Volkswagen Golf with an 82 and the Mazda 3 with a 64. Surprisingly, the Honda Civic placed 4th with a 60. Looking at another journal, Car and Driver ranks the Corolla very differently than Consumer Reports, as they have it as number 7 in the same segment, with the Civic actually taking top honors. Ahead of the Corolla as well are the Mazda 3, Volkswagen Jetta, and Hyundai Elantra. So this is a bit of a strange one, as I also disagree with Car and Driver's placement as well. If you look at many sources for reliability on the Corolla, however, it's well above average no matter where it's placed on any of these lists. I would like to know, do you have one of these Corollas, a newer one? Let me know in the comments, and I want to know if it's been terrible or if you had major issues with it. With all of that said, on the new model, what if you can't afford a new Corolla, or just like the older ones better, don't like the styling of the new one, and you want a good deal? Well, then you'll need to do some research, and there I've got you covered as well. So let's start out by talking about some of the past issues with older Corollas. CarComplaints.com is a great resource when looking at complaints and overall issues. I frequent this site almost daily looking for information on cars to better inform all of you. Now, there are a bunch of issues for the Corollas across all years, but a few of the biggest listed on Car Complaints are: engine uses excessive oil on the 2002 Corolla with an average cost to fix of $2,500 and an average mileage of 99,000 miles. Next is transmission failure on the 2003 Corolla with an average cost to fix of $1,200 and an average mileage of 65,000 miles. Lastly is excessive oil consumption on the 2009 Corolla with an average cost to fix of $4,500 and an average mileage of 100,000 miles. Something to keep in mind with these three issues is that Car Complaints is made up of user or consumer reported issues. So these aren't necessarily things that you would encounter on an older model, just what others have logged on this site. It's also worth noting that even given all of the years worth of data compiled here, there aren't a ton of mechanical complaints outside of the 2002 and 2009 model years. This shows that the Corolla, at least according to these consumers, doesn't have a multitude of mechanical issues. If you can avoid the 2002 and 2009 versions, do so. Next, let's talk about the Technical Service Bulletins, or TSBs, for the Corolla. If you didn't know, a TSB is a communication from the manufacturer, like Toyota, that documents recommended procedures for repairing vehicles, and they happen when there are several occurrences of an unanticipated problem. For example, if consumers are reporting that their doors won't lock because a wire in the door is known to disconnect from its harness, and it's happening across many different shops or dealers, the manufacturer will look into it, and if there's a fix, issue a TSB, so if it happens again, the fix is easily understood and rectified. The manufacturer may also find fixes proactively and issue a TSB if the fix does not require a recall. You might be surprised to actually learn that there are hundreds of TSBs listed for almost all model years of the Corolla. However, it's important to remember that this isn't necessarily a standard for reliability. Almost all cars have tons of TSBs each year they are produced, so take this into consideration when doing your research. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go into all of the TSBs they list because that would basically just be its own video in and of itself, but if you're more DIY inclined, it's worth poking around in the TSBs should you find something wrong with your vehicle and you want to fix it yourself. You may find a TSB with the fix you need, and could you save yourself hundreds, if not thousands, in repair costs with the right know-how. You can find TSBs listed on sites like Car Complaints, among others, as TSBs need to be public knowledge by law. But I will mention that if you do find something wrong and you own a newer model, be sure to ask your dealer first, as you'll likely have a warranty that should cover you for almost anything. On that note, let's talk about any active recalls that the Corolla has. You can find these along with other complaints, manufacturer communications, and investigation information at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA for short. The Corolla has a bunch of different recalls associated with many different model years, but here are a few to watch out for and the years that relate to them. For the 2006 model year, frontal airbag inflator may explode. An inflator explosion may result in sharp metal fragments striking the driver or other occupants, resulting in serious injury or death. Toyota's fix was to replace the front driver inflator, front passenger airbag inflator, the airbag assembly, or the front passenger airbag subassembly and inflator. This should rectify that issue. Next is seat heater electrical wiring on the 2009 Corolla. If damaged, the copper strand heating element may short circuit, increasing the risk of a fire. Toyota's fix here was to have dealers disconnect the seat heaters entirely, free of charge, and refund the purchase price of the seat heater accessory. Now, I saw this same recall on the Toyota Tacomas I just did research for on my last video, and it's a supremely strange way to handle a situation like this. You'd think that Toyota would just replace it or fix the seat heaters, but no, they just disconnected it and that was that. And the last recall is backup lights may fail on the 2020 Corolla. If the backup lights fail, there can be an increased risk of a crash while the vehicle is reversing. The fix for this one was for dealers to replace the rear hatch wire harness free of charge. Now, I always include recall information in these videos, and I almost always get a comment on them saying something to the effect of, man, this is recall stuff, who cares? Just get it fixed at the dealer for free. No one needs to know what this is. Why are you even wasting my time in this video? And well, you guys sort of do have a point. All recalls can be fixed for free, so why even mention them? Unfortunately, you wouldn't even believe the amount of people who don't even do recalls at all on their cars. According to a 2018 survey by Stericycle Expert Solutions, more than 1,100 Americans were surveyed and found that only 87% acted on their recalls most of the time, which actually boils down to a far less percentage of people actually getting that work done. But it gets worse from there. The NHTSA itself did some of their own research and tracked recall information through VIN numbers or vehicle identification numbers, and they came to the conclusion that only about 61% of people get their vehicles repaired, which is not great. That means there's a potential 39% of vehicles out there that still have a recall on them. And as you saw above, these recalls could be really dangerous or potentially deadly. So yeah, I include all of this for a reason. Get your damn recalls done, people. They are literally free. Now, the ones I mentioned above for the Corolla are, of course, not the only recalls out there for this car, but these are the most interesting ones as they all involve crashing, personal injury, or just unsafe driving conditions. And like I literally just said, people don't do recalls, so if you do own any of these models or own a Corolla, be sure to go and get these all checked at your local dealer for free. After looking through all of this information, do I recommend you go in to buy a Corolla if you've made the decision to purchase? And the answer to that is, quite frankly, a yes. And to answer the question from the beginning of the video, there's really no reason that the Corolla shouldn't be the top selling car in the US other than personal preference. Everything I've gathered seems to be great with a car otherwise. So if you're cross-shopping compact cars or hatchbacks or hybrids, keep the Corolla lineup on your list. After I've personally driven some of them, I can attest that they are great cars with a responsive chassis, and you'll no doubt get Toyota's great reliability. If you have the means, get a new one and enjoy it. And if you want a used one, just avoid 2002 and 2009, and you should be good to go. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this one, please consider watching some of our others that we do. We make tons of different videos about new car reviews, other what to know videos, consumer advice recommendations, and automotive news. If you'd like to see any of those, check the description below for playlists of everything we do. And finally, I hope that this video did help you in making your buying decision a bit easier or has made you a better informed owner. If you want to follow us outside of YouTube, you can find us at Shifting Lanes on Facebook and Instagram, where we post about the cars we review, our personal cars, and industry news and adventures. Again, my name is Gregson. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, until next time.